What's up, everybody? Fat Bastard here. This morning I did a little bit of maintenance to my bikes and cleaned them up a little bit, and I thought it would be a good time to do a bike check video. Alright, so we're going to start with my Cannondale Trail 7 29er. This was my first real bicycle that I purchased that I did not buy from Walmart or Target. It's kind of the bike that got me started into this whole thing. This bike has been set up several different ways. Different forks, different wheels, different handlebars, different pedals. The only thing on this bike that is still OEM is this top spacer. You see here it says Cannondale. That's it. Everything else on this bike has been changed, and most things have been changed more than once. So let's go over how it's set up currently. Right now on this bike I have Shimano XT brakes. These are the first gen XTs, still extremely solid, great stopping power, great modulation. I really like Shimano brakes because they use mineral oil instead of brake fluid, so it's a lot less corrosive when you're working on them. For shifting, Shimano XT, it's a 1x11, a generic carbon handlebar. I'm using this handlebar because I'm not riding this bike on anything rough, but this was just to save a little bit of weight on the handlebar. And then on the handlebars I have these bar ends that I have set inboard of the grips. The reason why I have them set up inside of the grips is because I can still access my brakes even in this second position here, so I can still grab my brakes. The fork that I'm currently running on this bike is an MRP Rock Solid. Lower legs are all carbon, but it has aluminum dropouts for the wheel. The steer tube is aluminum and the crown is aluminum. The wheels that I have on it are Mavic Crossmax Pro XL. These wheels have the UST channel in it, so there's no spoke nipple holes that go through the inside of the wheel. So setting them up tubeless is really easy. All you have to do is just put a UST type valve stem in there, and then mount your tire, as long as it's a tubeless tire, and add some sealant, air it up, and you're good to go. I've really enjoyed these wheels. It was one of the first upgrades I did to this bike because the OEM wheels that were on it, they were just junk and heavy and flexy. These wheels are really stiff and a lot lighter, and they make the whole bike feel snappier and faster and more fun to ride. 180 millimeter rotors front and rear. Moving over to this area, show you the drivetrain. We're running a race face crank that has a 32 tooth chainring, narrow wide, 11 speed. That's an 11 speed XT cassette. That is 11 to 42. And running an SLX derailleur. Using these 50/50 pedals on this bike currently, so I can clip in with SPDs if I'm doing a gravel ride or something like that, or if I just want to throw on some tennis shoes and go for a ride with the kids, I can just do that on these pedals. WTB saddle. Not really a big fan of how WTBs feel. I've yet to find one that's really comfortable. Probably going to put a different saddle on it at some point. So that's basically it on the Cannondale. Let's move on to the next bike. Okay, so this is my Trek Stash. Originally this bike came as a 29er mid-fat bike, had big 3-inch wide tires, 120 millimeter fork. I've converted it to more of a standard 29er. This is my main trail bike, so generally speaking, if I'm going to ride some single track, I'll probably be on this bike. Shimano XT, everything. Shimano XT brakes. Again, I'm a big fan. I really love how they feel. I love the power. And again, an XT shifter on this bike also. Race face effect. Handlebar, I think I've got these cut to about 740. I would prefer them to be a little bit wider, but they're working for now. Using these ODI grips, really soft grips. They help with hand fatigue, where your hands don't hurt as much as you're going through rough stuff. On this bike I have the Fox 34 with 150 millimeters of travel. Generally the 34 is limited to 140, but this one has 150. I may drop this down to 140 at some point. I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but I like the way it rides the way it is right here with 150. I may just leave it. Fox makes awesome suspension, no secret there. This bike I'm running Ibis 938 alloy wheels. These wheels have a good wide profile inside, which allows you to run a bigger tire. They're also set up tubeless. I'm not a big fan of these tires. These are Butcher Grid. It's made by Specialized. They don't seem to excel in any one thing really. They struggle in hard pack, over the loose over hard pack. They struggle in regular hard pack. They struggle when it's, you know, a little bit wet, when there's some mud. So I've not found anything that they're really good at. They're good whenever it's hero dirt, but I don't know a tire that isn't. So that doesn't really tell you much about a tire. That's probably the next thing I'm going to do to this bike, is put different tires on it. I haven't decided what tires to put on it yet, but 180 millimeter rotors front and rear on this bike. These are Shimano Icetech rotors. This is the dropper. This is a Bontrager line dropper. Now, if you're not familiar with how dropper posts work, this allows me to push this lever here and drop the saddle to get it out of the way when you're going down stuff that's rough. So if I'm going down a descent where there's rough or technical terrain, it helps to have that saddle out of the way. And then once I get done with the descent, I can just push this lever and up comes the saddle. Awesome. If you haven't invested in a dropper post and you ride mountain bikes, you probably should. One of the best upgrades you can do to your bike. This is a Race Face Effect crankset. It uses a cinch type chainring. That's a 30 tooth chainring going to an 11 to 42 cassette on the rear, and the derailleur is Shimano XT. One other feature about this bike that makes it unique, the rear dropouts, it has their stranglehold dropouts here. So I can actually slide these dropouts forward and rear. So that makes it possible to run 27.5 inch wheels and 29er wheels. So that makes this particular frame very versatile. Running VX trail pedals on this bike. They're kind of like Shimano trail pedals, maybe a little less expensive than the Shimano version. They use Shimano SPD cleats. I like them. I mean, they're good pedals. They seem solid. I haven't had a problem with the bearings. I think for the pedal and cleats, I gave like 50 bucks new. Have zero complaints about them. That's about it on the Trek Stash. I really enjoy riding this bike. All right, guys, this is the last bike I'm going to show you. This is my Trek Crossrip 3 road bike. Yes, I do ride some on the road. I find it to be really good exercise. But this particular frame is, they call it more of an adventure frame. So it has clearance for bigger tires. You can run gravel tires. I think it'll clear 38C tires or maybe even 40C tires. So it makes it a pretty versatile frame. It's an aluminum frame with a carbon fork. It's not the world's lightest road bike. I think the way it's set up right now weighs in right at about 20 pounds. So as a road bike, that's pretty heavy, but that makes for a good workout, right? Carbon aero bars, carbon stem, carbon seat post, carbon bottle cages. Those are all things that I did just to kind of trim a little bit of weight off of it. Shimano 105 on this bike. This is the older version of the Shimano 105, I think 5800 or something. So it's a 2x11. So you have two chain rings up front, 50 to 36, I think these cranks are. And then the rear is 11 to 28 on the cassette, 11 speeds. This is a disc brake specific bike. So you have disc brakes front and rear, running 160 millimeter rotors. Running these Look style pedals for road cleats. Running the Discus C35 Pro wheels. This is 3T's entry level wheel set. They're aluminum. But I really like them. I think when I changed these wheels from the OEM wheels that were on here, I shed a little over a pound of weight in just the wheels. And that's a huge difference when it comes to wheels. Running the Grand Prix 4000 tires. Those are 25C. No complaints there. They roll really well. Great grip. The brake set on this bike, these are hydraulic calipers, but they're cable actuated. So if you look at them here, that's TRP's hybrid brakes. So the caliper itself is hydraulic, but it's actuated with a cable. I find that they have really good power, really good modulation. I really like them. They sure beat mechanical brakes. That's about it on this bike. You know, it's surprisingly fun to ride on the road when the trails are closed, or if I'm just looking for something different. A lot of times I'll just hop on this thing and go for a 15-20 mile ride, and it's always a lot of fun. I enjoy it. All right, guys, so that'll do it for my bike check video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell icon to be notified of new videos. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments about any of the bikes that we talked about, or in general. I'll be happy to try to help you as much as I can. So go out and do something active today. Go ride your bike around the neighborhood. Go jump on a mountain bike trail. Go take your dog on a walk. Go play some basketball. Whatever it is, just get outside, get in the heat, break a sweat, get your heart rate up, and do something active. There's no time like today to get started. Thank you guys. Have a good day, and we will see you next time.